Now, all students are different. They have different needs. Some are twice exceptional, some gifted learning, some have autism. As long as we have as long as we have supports in place that addresses those needs, we can put them on an equal level field, or try our best, obviously, to put them and expose them on an equal playing field with supports. So project-based learning does help build independent critical learners, and I'll go over project-based learning right now. As you are aware, there are 32 learning theories. I won't click on the link today due to all these technical issues, but there are 32 learning theories, and most theories lend themselves to project-based learning. Now, you cannot have project-based learning or any successful school without having an academic culture. These are the beliefs, the perceptions, and the relational capital. Every educator out there knows the most important thing with students are relationships. Relationships are key to building non-academic and academic skills. For example, there was a large study done here in the United States. 270,000 children were studied that were in social emotional learning programs. And they've noticed that there was an 11% gain in this particular statistics. It is in a lot of books when it comes to social emotional learning. A lot of people use this because it is profound. You can actually leverage social emotional learning to improve academic performance. Regardless of the student's abilities, social emotional learning does help them move forward academically. So what is project-based learning? First off, we need to understand what is curriculum. Curriculum is broadly defined as the totality of educational experiences by students in the process. That's broadly defined. Most of us look at curriculum as a planned sequence of instruction, of tasks, of events, all combined. And you have your standards given to you by your state or by your nation or a Department of Education. And from those standards, you sequence them, then you utilize strategies you learned as a teacher or from peers or from mentors, the best practices, evidence-based practices, and then you have your instruction, and then of course you add your own personal spin on things that you feel are important for students to understand. And many times people focus just on the processes, which is amazing. Some people focus just on content, which sometimes takes away students from learning the skills they need to be successful. So according to the World Innovation Summit for Education, when it comes to project education, we must look at three major areas. Project-based learning. Are you doing it for an instruction, or is that a supplemental activity to the instruction? Is it for student agency, or do you really want broad learning experiences? If you really want to develop the whole child, the broad learning experiences does help more so than student agency. Academic versus non-academic skills. There are project-based learning done for younger students or younger children that focuses on non-academic skills, and it truly prepares them for the academic projects. And when I say project, that's pretty broad. I'm not saying they have to put together a paper or just they have to put together a presentation the same way every time. For instance, in my particular school, we have Lego education for preschool through 7th graders, and they integrate different disciplines to help them in Lego education. It's not just about a little bit of engineering, but they also have to present. They have to be creative, innovative. They have to work together and collaborate. So it depends on the grade level and depends on the level of Lego education programs because they are differentiated. So this is project-based learning in a nutshell. It's a need to know. What do the students truly need to know to be successful in the 21st century world? It's a driving question. You must include the student voice and their choice. 21st century skills, which I'll go on the next slide to show you what are those 21st century skills. Inquiry, innovation, constant feedback, revision, and a presented project. If you think about this, these in a nutshell, think of any workplace, any job. You don't have to put these in the same order, obviously, but in most jobs, you have a particular problem brought to you for whatever your title is. Right away, you have questions. You have your own voice you're working on, and you already have skills that you brought to your workplace. You have to be innovative many times. And throughout the process, you're getting feedback or revision, or you yourself are just doing all the work. And then you present something or present a solution. So this is a systematic way to look at project-based learning. But in a nutshell, this is what people do in the military and in hospitals. This is what people do as first line responders in the medical field. Now, momentum is growing in this area. The state of Texas has just started a STEM education framework. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And they try to use these as a multidisciplinary approach. New Zealand has started a curriculum of the future, which includes a lot of aspects of project-based learning. California has started the global education framework for next year, the state of California. The Republic of Singapore is advancing 21st century competencies, which when you look at the competencies and the processes used to learn is based on project-based learning. And they use a holistic approach as well. And of course, the United States Department of Education in the last 2 years have been releasing many things on STEM and STEAM. STEAM is science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics, and a multidisciplinary investigative approach. And most people that use STEM and STEAM use project-based learning to use this multidisciplinary investigative approach. So that being said, what is global competence? These are the 4 domains of global competence that Asia Society developed about 10 years ago. And this has been springing up around the world. Now, this California's project for next year, they're basing everything on these 4 domains. Global competence does refer to investigating the world, recognizing perspective. You communicate ideas, like being an active listener. You take action. Now, there's always a stepping stones to get to each particular domain, but in a nutshell, this is global competence. Why? Our world is getting smaller because of all this technology, but people still need to act like people. They still need to learn how to work as a team, how to collaborate, show initiative. So just for example, because I know there's time constraints, I'm just going to show you the 4 competencies of investigate the world. When students are at that level using project-based learning through the global competence construct, when they investigate the world, they choose one of these or multiple ones for the same issue. Very simple and something that you would want most people in the 21st century world to understand and to begin to investigate. And when I say use a variety of languages, and number 2, we're talking about coding or computers. We're talking about languages per se, Spanish, English, the variety of languages in our world, obviously. Also sign language. Okay, it's not just languages, verbal languages. There's other languages as well, especially when it comes to technology. Now the skills. According to these organizations, these in a nutshell are the 21st century skills that workplaces are showing to be in need of from their workers. These qualities and competencies, number 6, 7, and 8. If you wish to be a leader or supervisor, if you wish just to be a dependable worker that's on top of everything that the business wishes for it to achieve under its mission and vision, remember, emotional intelligence is very essential right now when it comes to supervisors, mentors. And these skills and qualities and competencies can be integrated into school systems. Project-based learning lends themselves heavily to this. It's not just about content. In tomorrow's world, most of the children today will be entering job sets that do not exist. So they need a base of skills and qualities or competencies that will best prepare them to encounter those particular job sets and the tasks that are going to be with them. So we need to look at trends that are appearing in the workplace and how best to transfer those trends into actionable activities, actionable curriculum for our students so they're better prepared. Global competence equals a dynamic equilibrium. Remember, a dynamic equilibrium is a balance. You need to balance what's going on in the schools to what's going on into the world. Many of our schools, and I can only speak for Texas because I'm here, many of our standards, what many educators will say are dated. There's things that the students don't need to really know those things to be successful, but they're still there. So obviously, convincing educational policymakers is key and essential to this. because we're not matching what's going on in the real world. And this is why we're having a large number of students beginning. The trend is now showing that a large number of students are not going to college. They're entering trades, which is great. Trades are amazing, and they pick up skills there. But students who really want to be successful in the 21st century, they don't need to know every standard and the content. They need to know skills that will help them get along with others, work well, self-regulate, show initiative. These are skills that can be leveraged into understanding and developing other skills that tie in more to academics and content. So again, here are 4 domains: recognizing perspectives, investigate the world, communicate ideas, and take action. Project-based learning through the global construct is essential to help students better understand the world they're entering. And it's better for us as their educators and parents to feel that we're doing the best we can to support those children. Now, I know all children are different, and some need more supports than others. This slide, I know there's a lot going on, but if you'd like to take a screenshot or take a picture, all these are evidence-based. On the left, you'll notice these are global best practices, very basic things to help students achieve. Families and educators that utilize these, regardless where the child is at, regardless what the grade level is at or their abilities, these things will help their child. They just must understand the child's needs first in order to best assist them with these practices. Now, homeschool, school, and virtual learners and the global workplace. There is an actual direct correlation between many things that happen in education. And it's not just about getting good grades. There's other things that will make a student successful as long as they show the effort. For example, in the middle of your slide, it says reflect on self-evaluations and processes of learning. Well, this does happen to different degrees as a student gets older. You're not expecting a 6 or 7-year-old to truly reflect on self-evaluations, obviously, but there's things that they could reflect on when they do evaluate what they do, like when they're playing, when they're learning, and play is essential for students understanding when they're young. Play is a great part of student development, but they can reflect when there's issues, concerns, or friction when they are playing with classmates, and they can someone can help them evaluate those issues. They become better playmates. And this is just an example for a younger age. So as they get older, obviously these things, they mean different things to students at different ages and different competencies, obviously. Show an initiative is the last one on the homeschool and school. Have integrity and encourage feedback. This can be leveraged for leadership traits and mentors in the global workplace. I've shared this slide many times with educators, or the information from this slide. And what I've noticed, it's not just the educators that really take this to heart. When I've done this slide and this information with high schoolers, 15 to 18-year-olds, they really focus more on the global 10 best practices. They're really keen on that because they can help each other. They have brothers and sisters, or for themselves, they understand when they're in need or they feel weakness, they can grow using some of these without their parents or a teacher obviously always helping them. It does help, but if you're intrinsically motivated, any learner can help themselves to be successful. Now, that if they really truly need help or support from someone, then just teaching them to come to you without the need to feel bad, I think that will show a lot as well. Because right now we do have a major issue when it comes to children not wanting to ask for help when needed. And I think that's a reflection on our society. Well, I can only speak here where I live, but that is a true reflection of our society when children who are in need are fearful or they have too much pride to ask for help when they know they need it. So this is global competence construct through project-based learning. And these are the supports to help get a family or an educator started to show students what the future global workplace looks like. And of course, the best practices and best ways, the evidence-based strategies to keep supporting the child, regardless what age or ability they do have. If you have any questions, please put in the chat box. You can also email me at 21stcenturylearning.readiness@gmail.com.